Everybody, Kaoiji here. So I just want to talk about, how I feel about New Genesis right now, because I feel like the game is improving, and I made tweets about that, but apparently I I checked off the wrong boxes in saying that the game is improving. So let's just go over why I think that. Because when I look at the original thought process that I had with the game on launch, I was like, oh man, the game's not exactly in the right spot right now. Urgent quests feel unnecessary. Even the combat zones feel largely boring, because all I'm doing is killing hordes of enemy. But then I started thinking about every game that I've ever played, and I even played a game recently that had literally no dialogue called Hyper Light Drifter, and it was one of the most iconic games that I think that I can think of off the top of my head for its style and storytelling without using any dialogue. Right? And I started thinking about the basis of every game. Yes, every single game that we're ever going to play is in literally killing hordes of enemies, and that's it. That's the basis of most games we're going to play. So when I think about the fact that everything at least feels somewhat rewarding now, it's like, okay, I go to combat zones, and even after I'm done leveling, I'm able to get armor refiners and, the items necessary for armor refiners. Whenever I'm able to start doing urgent quests, I have the option to wind up getting cosmetics that were previously exclusively available to AC scratch bonuses. These things are improving on the game, and that's really exciting to see. When I start looking at the mission pass that I thought was completely worthless before, start including things like special scratch tickets, or even again previously paid items, or at least variants of these previously paid items, and now also adding unique items, that's really cool as well. So there are a lot of things that I think are worthwhile in the game. And if I had to really criticize the game right now, I feel like it's because they're not releasing things as quickly as people would have wanted, because they realized way too late that they needed to do these things. So they went back and they fixed the foundation first, which is why in the headline we keep saying, hey, please be patient with us. We understand, we listen, we feel you, but these things will take time. And because I think that every time when they mention that in the headlines, they fully are aware that the game needs more and the game needs more content. But ultimately, the foundation and the basis of the game is improving. All of these quality of life enhancements are improving, because that is 100% the way the game needs to run right now. They need to fix the foundation. Otherwise, the house is going to come crumbling down more than already has. They made the house out of clay. A hurricane hit. The clay got wet. The house came down. Now they're like, you know what? Let's rebuild our foundation. So using the clay foundation, they put wood around it, so that way it's more solidified. And they're like, okay, now we can build the house. And that's why we're seeing more content being released now. We have the labyrinths coming out on the 20th. We have things that are going to be scheduled coming out in the future as well. And there's also these new events and all these things that are going to happen, going forward. This next month, we wind up getting into the side story that hopefully is a lot longer than the one that we got with Ina. Her name's Ina, right? Anyway. Right. And I'm hoping that eventually we wind up seeing an improvement over the game as an entire whole, because I see this as a very, very productive and very awesome game to continue building upon. Right. But the problem is that they took too long and now people aren't exactly happy. And I get that. Right. But constantly bashing the game isn't going to do it. Criticizing the game, giving feedback on how they should improve things. That is how you keep on doing things. So let's talk about the loot features that they touched on, but that almost seemed like they don't want to add auto looting. Okay, so if we don't want to add auto looting to the game, then you know what you do? Make it so that way we only auto loot certain items. Everything else literally stays on the ground. Allow us to only auto loot certain items, or disable it altogether if we want to do that. Let us have that option, because auto looting is awesome, but not when my inventory fills in the middle of a PSE burst and then followed by an encore, because that's 10 minutes usually of nonstop killing, and my inventory fills up way too quick, and the inventory problem has only gotten worse, and that needs to be fixed immediately. That should be like the next thing on the chopping block. Because for most people who have an inventory of 100, oh man, I can't even imagine how terrible it must be. My buddy Lavrin has had that issue, and I just don't get it, to be honest with you. It doesn't make sense why this hasn't been addressed yet. especially since they don't want to adjust the tables to have at least more meaningful content, but instead just add everything in there. So I'm getting literally every 4-star and 5-star weapon, and it just keeps piling up, and I'm never going to stop because everything is just going to keep getting auto-looted. Right? That's the one thing that I have a problem with the foundation of the game so far. And sure, they want to add it. They said that they were probably going to add it as a star gem or a premium feature or anything like that. But at the same time, let's start talking about how that needs to be done. I love the game, but that still needs to be addressed, right? I like how they're doing things with the, you know, with the different variant cosmetic items. I like how they're adding it so that way certain zones have certain enemies that drop certain weapons, like the cuckoo weapons that came out. But also, if you're going to have certain enemies that are tied to certain weapons, make it so that way that enemy at least spawns more. And I'm looking at what I learned yesterday when it came to the Pettis axes, when it comes to the rod drops for the cuckoo weapons, right? Why isn't that already a thing? Why do they spawn the least out of everything? So that means certain weapons are automatically unobtainable by default, or less obtainable by default. And it shouldn't be that way. Right. And that's just kind of how that goes. There's a lot of oversights the game keeps having, but the game is improving. The foundation is improving. Right. Will the game get better in the future? I still think so. I still think that the game has a lot of potential. We have Labyrinth Quest coming out. Right. And that's going to add a brand new game mode. So that way we can take a break from Battle Dia Quest. We can take a break from the tons of millions of combat zones that we're a part of. You know, there are things that we can actively do that will make more things be fun in the game. Give me at least a break to the monotony, right? We saw what they could do with the Dark Falls Urgent. If more things and if are like that in the game going forward, especially with the new zone coming out in June, then this game will be awesome. But that they set the bar for themselves is what I'm trying to say. Now they need to meet that bar because they set it themselves. So when I talk about the game is improving, sure, but it still needs work. Or when I talk about the game needs work, I'm allowed to criticize and praise the things for what they've done, because they done right here. They still need work here. They go hand in hand. Especially when you love something, right? You love your mother's cooking, but you're like, hey, Ma, it doesn't have enough salt today. Oh, okay. I'll add more salt next time I make this. I don't know. Maybe some people don't have mothers that were very kind to that, but you know, it's just a thing. And since a lot of this video came out because of some things that I mentioned on Twitter, I need to talk about, you know, the thing that I just posted, right? I'm not going to dismiss anybody's opinion about New Genesis, but if I am praising something, that is the invitation to be like, okay, cool, I like this tweet, or all right, I may not agree, and you're going to scroll by it. That's it. That's all I care about at that moment. If I'm bashing the game, criticize it with me. By all means, don't bash the game, right? Because I'm not bashing it, I'm criticizing it in that case. This could be better, right? Because we all agree that in every game that we love, things can be better. But I'm never going to dismiss your opinion. I'm never going to tell you, oh my God, your opinion sucks. What I am going to tell you is if I feel like you are not happy with the game because everything that you do is doom posting, because there's a lot of people who are usual suspects to my comment section or even my Twitter posts, I am going to tell you to play another game. Not to say that your opinion is wrong, but because you just may not like New Genesis, but you might have loved base PSO2. And both of those things are not the same. And that's okay. You're allowed to have opinions on one, like this is a better game, and I don't like this game. You're allowed to have those opinions. I have my opinions too. But at the end of the day, I'm going to look towards New Genesis being a better game, and I would hope that you do the same. So if anybody's ever offended by maybe some comment that I've made, it's never personal, because it's never going to be personal. I don't like attacking people's opinions unless you have something that's just fucking garbage, like being anti-trans or even, you know, you're colorist or racist. Those are things that I can't stand, and I will bash you for that. Right? But when we're talking about a video game, I can't come at you like that. It's fucked up. And you can't come at me like that, because that's also fucked up. But yeah, and right now that's all I want to talk about because I feel like you're able to criticize. The game is going to improve, and I have a million and one things that I think the game should work on. But I need more to come out before I can say whether or not that's going to be a good idea. You know what I mean? Because it may not fit the game. I might bring out something and it's just be like, oh, well, that was horrible. That was a horrible idea in retrospect. So that's kind of where I'm at. I have a lot of ways that I think that the game should work to improve on, but the foundation is being built again. And I think that is as far as we can take this currently. So anyway, that's where I'm going to end the video out here. Thank you guys again for watching. Stay awesome. Stay beautiful. Be kind to one another. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace. I'm out.